Good evening, dear friends. Today we will talk about the most precious thing in our life. These are our children, grandchildren, our nieces and nephews, so all children and babies and adolescents who will live on this planet and continue the evolution and development of this planet. They will adorn and develop this life with their abilities, in general, with all this knowledge, skills that we will put into them, into their souls and minds. So, friends, today we'll talk about development and education of children, how to educate them right, and what states do parents need to have in themselves so that their children feel their parents right. First, to have the right understanding of the upbringing of children, we need to understand how the brain of a child works, how do the brains of adult human work, and what the vibrations are of the brain, and how of this radiation interacts with the reality, and how does the brain of a small baby processes the electromagnetic fields and waves of the reality and activate the senses of perception of our world. And if we see that the family lacks the right order, well-being and culture, then we see that children receive and process the fields and radiations of aggressiveness, anxiety, worries, some destructive state, and the state of depression. And we see it very quickly. How children come to the kindergarten, we can understand the environment in his family because his mind receives and processes this behavior of his parents, and then he shows and expresses the same state everywhere in the kindergarten, on the street, then later at school, and so on. Yes, parents very rarely estimate right their behavior, their actions, the level of their intellect, and the level of the development of their souls and minds, although this is the basis of the right education of our children. Considering of all life processes that are happening now, of course, it's not the right and constructive way. Many people live in a scary state, in despair. Many people, adult people, have lost themselves, and children also observe this. And of course, in such families, when everything is possible, if you want, you can work or don't work, or you do everything that you want. This process of irresponsibility and irresponsible freedom allows to the humanity expresses itself what it really is. Because in the past, in my youth, all people forced to work. Yes, it was the law, it was mandatory, but of course, there were just a few such people who had to be forced. People worked by their own will and choice. They tried to work and to earn some money and ability for themselves. And of course, we lived in some specific order, but now it's normal to be lazy and not to work. Now it has become the norm to deceit, to cheat, or to steal something. So all children see it and notice it. And on the one hand, parents want to have the good, hard-working children and obedient, well-educated and intelligent, but on the other hand, they show to their children the wrong way to live, because with their own behavior and actions they show them what is wrong, what is destructive way to live. But of course, for every child, his parents are the examples, and children learn from their parents, they copy their parents, and create undeveloped and aggressive society. And nowadays we see that technologies on our planet have overcome the level of the spiritual development of people. Yes, technologies have overstepped the development of the culture and ethics and morality of humans, and we see it obviously. And of course, it is leading the planet to very severe degradation. On one hand, we see that yes, people will live easily thanks to technologies because they will not work hard. But many people even live in the video games and the virtual reality. And of course, we see that there is no such a progress that the society and humanity has to reach. So when humans don't have such a progress and have lost their connection with the nature, it means that they have lost the connection with themselves, with their true nature. Because in humans, there is everything. For example, now you have technologies, you have smartphones, and you can connect with every person in every point of the earth. Although you have such an ability in your potential that you can communicate with any person on the earth at any distance. Although the gadgets, they also harm and destroy the brain, human brain of a person, because it radiates harmful vibrations. So yes, on the one hand they are useful, but on the other hand they're very harmful for humans' health and brain. So people can live without technologies, but at the same time people don't develop their natural abilities. And also, what do we see what is happening right now on the planet? The process of transformation of the world is going on. The planet has moved to the other dimension, to the fourth dimension. Even the physical state of a human body has changed. Even doctors and scientists told that medicines and pills ceased to work and help people because physical bodies of humans work in completely another state of life due to the mutations and transformations of physical bodies of people. And of course, scientists are trying to explore and to find out how to live further. And friends, what should we do? We need to develop and explore our true energy nature. So only people who will be engaged in the development on time, they will live in the future. And it means that humans need to join and to be engaged in the general state of natural development, unite with the nature, and activate and reveal all the natural abilities that they have. In addition to this, the quantum transition is going on that will end till the 2036. Until that period of time, many people will understand and reveal such a state as extrasensory ability. So, despite of all these artificial technologies, people also are developing and spiritual and highly developed beings that now live in the seventh dimension of the planet, energy, spiritual dimension. They help humans in this. And scientists also receive the information, the knowledge from the spiritual space. They explore and discover many new discoveries about the quantum physics, quantum dynamics, and many other processes. And they receive the explanations of all processes of the higher mind. So yes, many people are open in the extrasensory abilities. They see how their thoughts come true very quickly, that they receive information even before the call of a person. They try to feel who will be calling them. It means that the intuition and clairvoyance and anticipation are revealing and activating in people. But only those people who are striving to the development, spiritual energy development. Of course, people who have destroyed their brains, their minds, they cannot open these abilities. They just are destroying themselves, and they are living out their final lives. But people who are looking for the truth, for the true knowledge about our life and our nature, uh, who is the higher mind and who they are, they have delved into their self-development, self-cognition. And of course, the high vibrational energies from the cosmos that are coming to the planet are developing their minds, their consciousness are developing, and their brains have started to work on the high vibrations. And exactly such people give the right example to their children. And why do we talk about these adult people? Because they are the basis of the life of their children. Because they are the examples that they have to show to their children. And friends, of course, we see now that many children who live initially, if we will observe the life of a baby from his birth, and then everything that is happening with him, for example, his nutrition, is so harmful now. The modern nutrition that parents buy in shops and supermarkets, they contain artificial hormones and other substances, chemical substances that harm and destroy the natural health of children. And now we see that many of them, of such children, look like mutants, because their hormones don't work properly, their hormonal systems and pituitary gland that produces the hormones. And when in the first years of the life, with this nutrition replaced the natural hormones in a baby, then his pituitary gland and endocrine system failed. That's why we see that now many children have overweight. And yes, they try to lose this weight. Even small children feel insecure, not the right inner state. They have such a complex. They may experience bullying at school because of their overweight. So, of course, it's also not a normal state. So, we can put it in another way that now all the processes and aspects of the life from the birth are arranged in such a way that is wrong, that are harmful for children. And everything starts from the conception, from the conceiving process. For example, when parents conceive a baby in the state of drunkenness, then such a baby will have the program and the gene of the alcoholism. He will have the predisposition to such a state of alcohol abuse. So, friends, everything should be right. And for you to have the right and developed and healthy children, you need to work on yourself. And first of all, to be honest with yourself, to observe yourself from a side and to think, what are you doing right and wrong? What maybe your children should not see and shouldn't feel and experience. So that our children develop in a constructive way and really to move to another state of life and to adapt to that new stage of life. All parents need to start a very serious work on themselves. And I think that I will not reveal the secret to you that when there are scandals, aggressiveness in your families, and when your children live in the aggressiveness, scandals, greediness, envy, I think you know that many cells inside of your bodies die, and many destructive processes occur in your bodies. Your pituitary gland also ceased to produce the normal amount of hormones. So even your brain starts working in a destructive way. So even one scandal can destroy the psyche of your children, and the psyche is the state of his mind and soul. Remember, I told you that everything is formed initially at the subtle energy state. It means that in the state of your psyche, and your psyche is the basis of your normal and healthy and prosperous life, because a person with destroyed and damaged psyche, mental state, cannot be successful and healthy. And friends, I met a lot of rich people who had a lot of business and property, but due to their wrong choices, because they had just greediness, self-interest, they became mentally ill. They just lived in very destructive mental state, because it seemed to them that someone is absorbing them, wanted to destroy them or to kill them. So, of course, thanks to such a psychic state, damage and destructive state, led them to the failure. So, of course, um, the constructive employees also left them, and all the businesses then led to the bankrupt. Of course, such people also had a lot of diseases, because the destructive mental state created to them these diseases. So that's why your psyche, your healthy mental state is the basis of your prosperous and healthy life. So even if a person is the richest man in the world, but if he does not have the healthy state of mind, then he can lose absolutely everything. It could come if this child was completely adapted to the social life. It means that he could fulfill any task. It means to be hardworking and to be skillful. For example, to survive, to cook food, or to bring order in the house, to develop and master some skills in some activity, to develop his talents and skills. Of course, it would give the certain level of development for this child. But we see that most of children, in principle, are not developing. So they are developing at such a technology state, but children are not adapted to the social material life. But they need to live in this material life and to earn money, to arrange his life, to gain the profession. And we see that very often such children even lose their interest in their survival. I even don't say about prosperous life, because in the video games, in the virtual reality, it's much easier to gain some results and success than in the real life. A real life has completely another rules and laws. And friends, now the life has come to the new state of life, and very soon these gadgets, devices that you use now, will be unnecessary. They completely unneeded. And whatever happens, nevertheless, our children who are developing and they exist, and for example, our center also are engaged in this activity. And very soon, even in September, we will open the international online school, primary school and middle school, that will teach children and develop them. They will be taught a high morality and ethics and laws of life. They will be very skillful and very developed according to the divine plan. And of course, the future belongs to them. And our school will have the name, the Children of the Future. And it will be not the ordinary school. Every family, parents, and child will pass the certain selection interview, and a child will not be forced to go to the school, and they will not be alone in fulfilling his tasks and exercises. He will be helped in everything, and all teachers in the school are my learners. It means that they have completed very serious energy and theoretical preparation. They will give their energy and knowledge in full, and they will conduct these lessons in such an interesting way that children will study with interest, with content and joy. So children will like to study. And of course, all children will reveal and develop in themselves the skills and talents that they have to develop in this life according to their destiny. And friends, there are no such schools in the world. And yes, in this world, it's difficult to be the pioneer in something, but we will do everything. We will do our best because it's so wonderful. And also, I can tell you that this is one of my dream, the dream of my life, and also one of my dreams that that there will be more such kindergartens and schools in the world. For example, in the kindergarten of my learners, they so take care of children. They even feed the children with all best and natural and homemade food. So my dream is to create millions of such kindergartens and schools in the world. And only then, my friends, our planet will change for the better. So we don't stop at that results that we have. We will work on it even more because our learners are the people from the whole world. These are people who in their cities and their countries will create such schools and centers and kindergartens, and they will conduct the activities, and they will help people to overcome all these hardships and destructions on the planet that the matrix system creates for us. And I know that we will survive and will overcome all of this. And I know that my learners are the teachers and will be the teachers for people, because every of my learner is striving for the ideal state and the inner purity and kindness, and they teach us this the environment. They shows them the example, and this is the victory and achievement of the Creator and all higher forces of light that are working on it and take care of the humanity that now lives in such a destructive state. So, friends, I shared with you my dream, although sometimes you write comments that I give an announcement, always tell a lot about my school. But on the other hand, I really want to tell to the whole world that people, you really need to start your self-development. And for this, you need to meet your own teacher, because not all people can study with me. To come for our courses and studying, you should have many parameters to correspond to them. The human morality and ethics and education. And I know that not all people can come to study with me, even not all viewers who now are watching this broadcast. Many people even are waiting for many years, and regularly they send the pictures for me for the interview, and I have to refuse them because they need more time. And yes, sometimes they're preparing for a long time. Sometimes it happens. So, friends, yes, I announce the spiritual development for the whole world because I really want to every person to find his own teacher, because I know that not every person is ready to become my learner. Only those people become my learners whose souls have chosen to become my learners. But on the planet, there are many teachers, spiritual personalities, very honest, very pure in their souls. So, yes, I invoke humanity for their development, spiritual development, because I know that only this aspect, this process, will help humanity to overcome all these hardships and to survive. There is no other method. because I learned everything in this world and I concluded that only self-development will help people to survive. Why? Because this is the right adaptation to the life. This is the right vibrations, radiations. Because when you radiate the right states and energies, then you receive this in return. It means that you live in the unity with the nature. You know how to manage the environment, your events, and all processes of your life. And then, of course, when you are adapted to this reality, to this world completely, then you will survive all difficulties, and even the most serious problems will not harm you, will not concern you, because you radiate high vibrations. And the one of the basic laws of the cosmos is what you radiate, you receive. That's why, friends, especially envious people, I want to tell you, don't envy. Because when you have some flow in something, you will feel this envy. But start your self development, because I know definitely that you have this state and skills that are closed in you, but when you will open and develop this, you also will become more developed, and then you will not envy anyone. You will be content with yourself and with your life. Because you do you know, friends, what person is envious? Who is discontent in his own life? Who does not have something, or does not have some results, some skills, but you come into this life exactly for this purpose, to learn how to fulfill all these activities and reach your achievements. And then the achievements of other people will not activate in you envy, because you will be happy in default. Start to rejoice of achievements of other people, and then your achievements also will come into your life. I tell you this because I see this in the lives of my learners. Let's come back to the topic of children. We really need to explain our children at schools as never before how energy work, how energies work, what is quantum physics, what are quantum particles, what are they consist of, and how quantum particles interact with the human brain. How does human brain works? What are quantum waves of different levels and frequencies? Because there are different waves from which this world consists. What is quantum genetics? How the body cells work? How does the psyche and nervous system interact with the health of our physical body and influence on the immunity, physical health? We need to tell them the real history of the planet that will explain them the true nature of humans. It means that we need to give the knowledge that will help them to activate and reveal their talents. It means that they need to work with their minds and psyche. That's why our teachers in our schools are all psychologists, and they will work with the psyche and minds of the children. And every teacher, of course, has his own direction and field of knowledge, but all of them are psychologists, and they will find the individual approach to every child, and it is necessary so that the healthy society grows. Of course, we should have the healthy environment in the families, but also at schools, where a child spends the most time, where he is studying and when he is taught the right state of life. So, of course, at such school, not only the right environment should be, but also the right knowledge that a child can understand. That's why teachers should explain this knowledge in a simple way, in a simple language, so that it will be comprehensible for children. Because when the information is understandable for a child, then he can comprehend this and apply it, accept it, and apply it in his experience. And of course, we need to develop the talents in children, because, friends, your children have lived many, many lives or incarnations. They had a lot of professions, activities. It means that they were different specialists. So at this time, they are born with one purpose and or task. You call it destiny. For example, the development of some skills or talents or some possibilities. Or maybe a child has so many talents that he can do anything, but he doesn't want to. It means that it's not interesting to him. He wants to try something new and unusual that maybe doesn't exist at the moment. And very often, parents say that my child doesn't know what does he want in this life, what profession. By the way, at our school, our teachers will help children to select their profession. It's very simple, friends. You want to know how? You just need to talk with the inner state of a child, with his soul, and ask him, what does he like? If a child is born in this life, and in his plan for this life, in his destiny, is the task, the purpose, to fulfill some tasks, some purposes, it does not matter how much money it demands. If a child has chosen this, it means that he has the impulse, he has the desire, the purpose, the aspiration, then immediately the cosmos will create him the needed acquaintances, circumstances, methods of education, all possibilities to achieve this and to fulfill this life for the whole world and humanity. You just forgot your own nature. You think that technologies and devices will improve and adorn your life. But it's not true, friends. Now you see it, you have smartphones and devices, but till this time, so many destructions are taking place on the planet. So, have you become more content and happier? I can tell that people have become even unhappier than they were 30 or 40 years ago. Friends, you need to start your self development and to develop in your children their own natural inner state, their true nature, and then combine this nature with the technologies. And in this case, you will have the highest results and progress in your evolution. But if you just develop the technical progress and reject the spiritual development, you are becoming the biorobots, not humans, but some machines, because your minds are in these artificial machines and you trust these machines. But where is your nature? It means that your nature is not developing. You tell to machine, calculate for me or do something for me, and my brain will degrade and my neurons will not work. I just will live in such an animal state. I just will live and eat, sleep, and just live with my instincts. And in principle, most people live in such a state. So, friends, let's admit to ourselves honestly and start very serious work on ourselves. And then your children will see who their parents are. And when they will become adult, they will say, my mother and father, I want to be like you. You are the example for me. And how you act, I also want to act and live like this because I see how your life is arranged, how you are balanced, emotionally balanced, how you love and respect each other. You don't have any scandals and quarrels. It's so wonderful because my friends have always scandals and quarrels in the families between parents, and they so suffer from this. They complain me, but they cannot do nothing with it. Yes, friends, do you know how do you suffer your children when they listen to your quarrels and scandals? It's very painful for them. and they cannot do anything, just to absorb this and to suffer. On the one hand, you demand from them to be wonderful, but on the other hand, you show them how they should not act and live. So define for yourself what do you want. And do you know, friends, that many people really lack kindness and honesty. They live in the lie so much that they deceive even themselves and everyone around them. But their life has not become better. But their children see it, absorb it, that then will live in this world after us. And in general, friends, we need to raise and educate our children from the birth, because the brain of a small baby, even from the birth, from the first days of his life, receives and processes the waves of his parents. So everything plays its own role. How the mom carried this baby, then how she gave the birth, what was the delivery process, then the first days and years of his life, how she took care of him, what was the situation and emotional state in the family, in what vibrations, in what atmosphere the mind and the brain of this child is forming, because this will be the foundation of his individuality, personality. And we should pay attention to it. And modern science tells about this a lot. There are a lot of books, a lot of lectures of scientists claimed and to prove this. But many people just want to listen to it and believe in it, because then it means that they need to work on it. But many people are so lazy and they are so degraded in their desire to do nothing. Of course, they find a lot of excuses for themselves, but their life is not improving. So, friends, in the nearest future, the world will experience very severe hardships and trials. So many people who have degraded, they will leave this world due to the different reasons. But this is inevitable process. It's true, friends. This world will not accept those people who have turned their minds into the minds of animals. Although now animals have developed very much, but humans have degraded so much that they really fell into the state of animals. And now some learners recently told me that my son or my daughter drinks alcohol, how to help them. And when I ask, how old is your son? 34. So he was your son when he was 34 months, because now he is an adult person. And so yes, then they admit that yes, we made a lot of mistakes, and what should we do now? Of course, I see that strong-willed learners, the most hard-working learners, they change even such situation, and their children, seeing the results, change their behavior and their life themselves. And do you see how your brain works? You radiate the vibrations, and with your mind, with your soul, and the brain of your children receive these waves, and certain changes occur even in their brains, even if they are adults. So, friends, don't wait that the world will change and then everything will be fine by themselves. It will happen only in the case if most of people will start the self-development, they will develop their morality, if they will start to learn the natural state, energy state, to develop and activate and develop and expand this nature due to the knowledge and apply it in the ordinary life, then the world will change very quickly. And it will be so, friends. I know it definitely. And you will remember my words after 10 years. You will remember that the world will change for the better. But of course, having passed from the very serious upheavals and hardships, destructions, because it is inevitable. Because this process of change is stopping by the people who don't want this development. Thanks to many reasons. So, friends, returning to the topic, I want to emphasize that future children are the super children, personalities, who will live in a very high vibrational energy state. And their brains will work on very high vibrational frequency, energy waves. And in the future, they will become not only very skillful psychics, even now they have open extrasensory abilities, but also they will have the connection with the higher source of life and receiving the information from above. Applying this knowledge, they will create a new world, a new civilization. And it will be based on goodness, kindness, mercy, understanding, and care of each other. It will be the basis of life. And it will be much easier for them to survive because when you are together, help each other, live in unity, it's much easier for you to survive. But when you fight with each other, envy, and don't forgive each other, offend each other, then it's very difficult to survive in such a situation. But when you take care of each other, help each other, it's much easier to survive and to live. And now in my center, we also are engaged in development of children, and we see that these children are another children. They don't envy, they don't want to fight or offend someone. They don't have grievances because they have understanding why one child offended another child. They even can explain them that you have such a misunderstanding. If you want, I will help you. Let's fix this together. So these children are really special. That's why, friends, the online school that will open on September 1st, I can tell you that such a direction, such schools and kindergartens, as our kindergarten in our center, are the future of the world. This is the fresh air. Thanks to this world lives. Thanks to the vibrations of these children and teachers who have the pure souls and are striving to the help to humanity. Of course, they also are developing, they are learning, they're fulfilling their own life tasks and they are working on it. But nevertheless, even now, they are special people and special society. And friends, notice that even in such difficult circumstances that we experience in Ukraine, exactly in such a suffering country, the new wonderful world is starting. This is the birth of the new world, a new reality. And really want to call it the miracle because it's really a miracle that allows the humanity, even in such difficult circumstances, not to give up. Situation when the war is going on and people die and suffer. Such a school shows to the whole world how we need to help people and children and take care of each other, how we need to raise our children because they are the future of this world. And friends, I'm ready to your questions, so I give the floor to Sergei Arkadievich. Good evening. Such a question in continuation of topic of the school. You told that not all learners can become, not all people can become your learners. And at schools, there is such a situation that not all teachers want to help and teach all children who maybe are not so intelligent. So, what is the difference? I can tell you that the criteria that we use in some selection don't divide children because of their skills, that they are more, know more or less. We don't compare them. Even more so, we help them psychologically if they have some damage of their mental state. But teachers pass the interview with their parents. We need to see that parents will fulfill our recommendations because we cannot allow such a situation when they drink, parents drink alcohol and then in the evening and then in the morning they bring their child to our school. Then of course we say stop, that they are your children and you should be the example for them. How I explained you today, have you understood that the parents, you should become the examples to your children? Then we will take your children to the school and will make the diamond from this small crystal that is developing in his psychological and mental state. We will do everything. So for us, there is no such understanding that a child is weak or stronger in his knowledge. On the contrary, I can tell you that when some children come to us with some damages of their mental state, for example, with aggressiveness, but parents help us because they do everything to become the wonderful example for their child, then, on the contrary, we manage to correct this situation, his mental state, very quickly. You know, friends, that when my daughter went to school, I started my work then. It was more than 15 years ago. So she came from the school and she told that I have the classmate and everyone is bullying him. So it's very difficult for him. And she asked, maybe you talk with him and help him. Because in principle, he is a good person, but he is fighting with everyone because he is defending himself from this bullying and attacks. Then I found the phone number and talked to his parents. Turned out that his father was my classmate. Of course, it also was not accident. And I started to study with him. It means that he came to me because I worked individually with people. So I talked with him, of course. I taught him to work in energy practices and meditations. I explained him what is his psyche, his mental state, what is his nervous system, what processes occur when he is offended by someone or when he is angry. And I taught him not to have grievances, not to be offended by anyone. And the next question from Olga. I work for Child Welfare Agency. How to help parents not to deprive them of their parental rights so that they change their minds and take care of their children? And is this possible? Sorry, Olga, you cannot help. That is why there is so much destruction on earth. Such people should leave this world. You know, friends, now I also will tell you one more phrases and you will remember this later. Many parents that are parents now or will become the parents in the future, some of them are pregnant now or just plan their children, many of them will not survive many disasters and hardships on the planet, so there will be a lot of orphans on the planet. But these kids will be able to survive the quantum leap, quantum transformations, high vibrations, so there will be a lot of such kids. And exactly the teachers of our center will create the communities with such abandoned children. They will teach them, they will be parents for them, they will be the teachers and help these children to raise a right people. And you know, friends, the work that we carry out for the world, we carry out the highest work and labor, and there is no higher work and service on the planet because we give the future to the humanity. We cultivate and nurture in them such a great and highest values that cannot be bought with the money, because we open the divine nature in people and then they radiate this divine energy that will help the humanity will survive all hardships, wars and disasters on the planet. Our learners are the people on the future and they will help such children and such families in the future. And the next question, Agirim asks, can you tell the advice? My son is 10 years old and I explained him many aspects about the creator, about the cosmos and psychology and energy. But sometimes I wonder if I'm taking his childhood away from him, making him think like an adult. Of course, a child should have a childhood. But when you tell him about the creator, does this deprive him of childhood? Conversely, The child has a certain interest. He is wondering, what does the creator look like? Where does he live? And what does it mean to be the creator? And what does it mean the creator is within me? How does he manifest himself through me? Or he doesn't do this. It means many questions arise in him. And then these questions push him to a right process of development. What does it mean you deprive him of childhood? Of course, let the child play in games, intellectual games, in football, in other games, especially physical games. It's very necessary for children, so he doesn't lose his childhood. Of course, you will not give him an adult task. For example, now he is 10 years old and you will ask him to repair your car, the engine of your car. Then, of course, he will lose his childhood. So he will stay a child, but when you explain him such a highest truth and knowledge, you prepare him to the great adult life. And the life will be very difficult very soon. And for these children to survive and to prosper, they really need to become wise and adult even now. Yes, friends, although they stay to be children, they have their childish thoughts and games and habits, and this is their normal childhood. And that you develop your child is just the great process. It will give great results. And you need to teach your children to meditate from the kindergarten. And it's very good when they practice in a group. You teach them to relax their nervous system and to dream, to plan. And in our kindergarten, our teachers apply these exercises. They teach children to meditate. They play pleasant music that relaxes their nervous system and restores their psycho-emotional state, restores the state of their health. They are dreaming, they are thinking about positive things. This is the healing of the souls. And why are there no such processes in the kindergartens? Why teachers don't know about this? Or parents? Teachers in kindergarten even can go out and smoke cigarettes and then return with this smell to children. Then they see and think that when we grow up, we also will smoke. This is the process of their upbringing that we see. That's why this process and knowledge that we give to the world, this is the greatest treasure. This is a diamond in such a hard state of world, but nevertheless it is shining. Yes, of course, we have one kindergarten now, and Natalia Vasilyevna Levchuk opened it by herself. She is my learner, and now I think it's the better kindergarten. There is no such kindergartens in the world. Everything there is the best: nutrition, upbringing, lessons, ethics, and moral relationships with children. Everything is the best for children. So I agree, you do everything right. Teach your child, he really needs it. The next question. What is the karma of teachers who raise their salaries at the expense of students, flooding children with low grades? And children are scolded, beaten, punished. Is it possible for such teachers to go through with impunity? My dear friends, I always told you and tell and will tell you, and especially I always tell people who think that they can get away with it, those people who create many sufferings and destructions. Every person is responsible for every moment of his life, both in this material life and in the subtle energy dimension after ending of this life. Everyone will repay and will be responsible for every moment of our lives. We pay for everything. If you did many good deeds, helped many people, it will return to you as rewards. If you did many bad things and you brought a lot of sufferings and destructions to people, you also should wait the boomerang, and such teachers too. I even tell you more, that this karma boomerang returns now even faster than it was in the past. And now I just want to advise you, forgive these people. They are not self-sufficient. Forgive them like I do. I even am not offended by people, even those who scolded us, our work, envy or humiliate, because it's understandable that only insufficient people can do this. And these teachers are the same. A kind teachers will not do this. If a teacher does it, it means that he has the same troubles and distractions in his own life and everything wrong, that he has a lot of troubles and problems in his life, and he just taking it out on the kids. You know, friends, that the best people in the world should be teachers and doctors, the most developed people, in immoral and the most well educated, the kindest, the most merciful people, with the best acceptance, understanding, the most virtuous person should be a teacher or a doctor. And such people should get the highest salaries because they lay the foundation of life. Teachers teach how to live and doctors help in this life and maintain healthy state of people. But on this planet everything is wrong. But nevertheless you see that we started to introduce such processes and we started to open these kindergartens, schools. It is already exist and in the future will be even more such schools. I'll tell you more that if kindergarten works only in Vinnytsia for children from Vinnytsia, but school it will be online and international school for children of the world, and this learning process will be very interesting for all children. And also there will be face-to-face classes at school in Vinnytsia too. The part of this online school will be in Vinnytsia. Will education be provided in Ukrainian? Yes, of course, friends, and we do everything so that our country prosper even in these very difficult times. We love our country very much. We will take care of people. We are those who help people, and we do it every day. In our center is the center for help and development of people. So face-to-face classes at school will be provided in Ukrainian and according to the Ukrainian educational programs. And also, of course, we will add the knowledge that we should give to children, additional classes. We will not deviate from the official program. We are very law-abiding citizens of our country. But nevertheless, since this school is international and no one knew our long-suffering country, Ukraine, of course now everyone knows in the world, but no one knows Ukrainian language. More people are Russian-speaking and English-speaking. That's why international classes for children from other countries will be provided on these languages because they don't understand Ukrainian. It will be in this way so far, but who knows, maybe in the future the Ukrainian language also will be widespread in the world. Although you know, friends, that to love the country, Ukraine, does not mean to speak only Ukrainian. Love is manifested in another way. It is manifested in caring for the country, caring for the people. And it can be different. Help and care, financial help or psychological. This will be love. I think this is the best thing. How you treat to your country. What do you give to your country? How do you take care of it? And what do you do to help and so that the country prosper? I still want to finish the topic. I love children very much, my friends, so much that when I see children, I dissolve in them. I myself become a child. When I see children, they are part of me. I see myself in children. I see their purity. I see their divinity. Even if the child is crying, even if he is aggressive or somehow upset, I still see in him that pureness that this child is endowed with, and I saw want that this pureness always guides the lives of such children and then adults and themselves parents. Love your children. Give them a lot of attention. Do not stuff them with gadgets, video games, where a child in a stroller rides with this mobile phone and games. It's just painful to look at and ashamed of such parents. And why they wanted these children if they are trying to push these children away. Yes, children are not easy now. Children now require a lot of energy, a lot of attention and knowledge, and for this, parents need to acquire and give this knowledge to these children, and not to just give them games and gadgets. This is not an option, my friends. It's a dead end. It's a road to nowhere. Children are special now. The world is special, and life is unfolding in you special life that will accept special people, our children and grandchildren. And for this, we need to give everything to our children and grandchildren as parents, all our attention, all our skills, all our desires, all our love. Only then can we count on a wonderful future and a wonderful old age. Up to new meetings, friends. Goodbye.